What's good? Pretty crazy morning on everything. So I didn't take any trades except a quick little scalp in here. We were in stock chat, but literally it was like a super scalp. Other than that, I haven't taken anything. I mapped out a long this morning, but I just wasn't. I wasn't really too confident I was going to take this high, to be honest. Looking back, I do see this as more of a liquidity void than an imbalance. So oftentimes that will get completely filled. So kind of wish I would have longed it this morning. I plotted out the entry as it was happening and kind of was just like, oh wait, but oh well. So obviously we had that massive move to the downside. And when I'm looking, whenever we have something like that, if I even look to trade in the mornings, I'm going to use a 5-minute chart rather than a 15 as far as for our little raid. And that was the main reason, along with where I was going to take profits, that I didn't take it. But see right here at 9:30, immediate little push down, nice little reaction. It's the same model, right? Market structure shift, leaving a fair value gap, off to the races. Now, I did not think that it was going to move that fast. And the little scalp I took, it was right here on this shift. And then when price came back right up here, I took a short, literally just down at this imbalance right here. Super like literal micro scalp shit. I was gonna take it to here, but I didn't like this. And on this kind of morning, I was just like, okay, just go ahead and take the. It was like 1.5 R, nothing major. Originally, I'd looked at this breaker block as well. I wanted price to kind of drop into it, but we see that it completely pushed through everything. So looking back, I think the main thing that I really wasn't taking into account is that this is a liquidity void, not a imbalance. Liquidity voids usually get filled. And then we did have quite a bit of highs that aren't equal, but relatively equal to where there's going to be a lot of stop losses. Also, whenever we have inflation numbers come out, not as expected, then we're going to see a lot of people want to short. Okay, the market's going to crash, and then we know what the market likes to do. It's going to be the inverse of everything else. So let me hop onto a higher time frame chart for the ES, or longer time, which is ES1. I know you guys, I've told a couple people to use ESZ. It's just because it has the highest interest. ICT is the one who recommends that as well. So here's a couple of questions actually. It said, hi, Casper. Do I think the news favored the dollar? I wouldn't really try to like bet on that. And I'm going to go in a little bit deeper into why, because you would think yes. You'd think yes. Like the higher inflation is going to make DXY run because more people are going to be, risk off. But another thing that this morning that came out was jobless claims. So most people don't think about this, but whenever you have higher jobless claims and employment is growing, and that problem is, becoming increasingly bad. Like if you look, these are really big jumps here: 228K from 219K. This doesn't actually have as detailed as my Forex book does because it breaks it down. Oops, wrong one. But whenever jobless claims are rising, what that does is it puts pressure. Is it my FX book? Like my brain dead right now. I can't remember it. What it does is it puts pressure on the Fed to not raise interest rates as high as they want, because they can only combat inflation with that so long that it doesn't completely destroy the U.S. economy, which that's where they walk that fine line of, how much really can they, hike rates. But how do you even get to it on the computer? I never use this one. Here we go. Yeah, so everything was really bad with jobless claims, right? As far as the continuing, the initial, take this off. Continuing jobless claims, This is actually right on point, but everything is raising, even though they're on point with the expected. The moral of the story here is that it's raising and getting worse. So if that continues to get worse, a lot of people would think that's bad for markets, but it's actually good in the sense that it delays interest rates being hiked. It might sound a little backwards, but that's the effect that could have. So I wouldn't really as much try to like play off the news, but instead just try to don't be a victim to it, is what I tell people. I'm just going to go ahead and completely clean this chart. I mean, when I'm looking at the most recent monthly order blocks, like the two levels that stand out to me the most, oops, not vertical, are these two candles, right? Because this is the most recent pro trend order block. We've always obviously been making lower lows and highs on the monthly as far as just our internal structure goes. So this would be our most recent pro trend order block, which was kind of that bear market rally. And we know that smart money was selling all the way up through that. They were distributing the longs that they had caught from the bottom, and also pushing price back up to where they could enter more sells. So we look at that as an area of institutional order flow, and really anything above this is going to be, a potential selling zone. I mean, as you see, as this candle barely tapped into it on the monthly, we've aggressively moved away from it. So we also have the most recent counter trend order block, a bullish order block that isn't touching this candle, is going to be right here. So when we're talking about ranges on the monthly chart, from a more immediate perspective, this is really the range that I see us between, which is 33.44 and 37.89. So anywhere in this area is going to be kind of fair game. So it's not crazy to say we're going to dump all the way down here. So then when I go to the weekly chart, this is something ICT pointed out. I hadn't really been paying as much attention to the actual order block here as the imbalance, but I see, because the reason is whenever you use this monthly chart, and this is actually from ICT 2016, you can basically layer your monthly range that you're trading within whenever we're trying to establish, premium discount on a broader spectrum, not just the local ranges to what we're trading off of, but you can also build and refine off of these levels. So if we look here and here, we're going to be able to go to the weekly, and we'll be able to find high value order blocks right around each one of those areas. So for instance, going right here now, you could, if you want to refine this, which I wouldn't refine it in terms just of the range, but maybe a bounce point, you can put it right here, because that's the order block, within the order block, so to speak. So we're basically just trying to layer our analysis through different time frames, because the most overused term in the smart money book, price is fractal, but that does hold true. So did we react off this volume imbalance? Yeah, right off that. I think we'll still see lower, but I could see seems like price is drawing up into this imbalance here. So when we take this kind of move here, we came into a premium now in the daily range. We're inside this fair value gap. I don't expect maybe an immediate downturn, but personally, I would be more waiting for a sell setup to occur. Why did this draw like that? What in the hell? What is my trading view doing right now? It's not even set to extend left. That was weird. Well, let me redraw that. Okay, there we go. So now what we can do from a daily, what I like to do is go on an hourly and kind of refine this. I see, we don't have to refine it just into imbalances, but we can also look at order blocks. So I see an order block there, and then just above it with some relatively equal highs, which I would preferably like more right here. And we actually had talked about this imbalance earlier this week, which it wasn't for this reason, but we had marked this up. You can go watch the Monday video. So Those are two areas I think we're drawing towards as of right now. But after that, I could see more downside. All right, it is Thursday. We've already had a really wide range. I mean, who knows? You know, the market might go crazy again, but I mean, this is not normal for indices. So, you know, last CPI day, we had a really big move, right? But if you notice, we had that big move in the morning, consolidation, big move right before lunch. So, I mean, really, actually, I was on the hourly. I'm sorry. This was the morning right here. I was like, wait, what chart am I on? This was the morning, and then that was the dump. But you see here, we've had a massive reversal. So I don't know if it's going to be the craziest move in the afternoon. We'll see. If I find a setup, I'll take it, but I'm not going to force anything. This week's kind of been iffy for me. I haven't really taken many trades. Now for Bitcoin, ever so close to where I want to mess with Bitcoin. And the guys in the server know, and everybody in crypto, like, I'm sorry that there's just not much going on here, in my opinion. There might have been some longs this morning off of this, but you know, it's just not as clean. It really, like, when I look at this, I mean, I see it now in hindsight. You know, you could said this was a shift. You know, long this, you'd almost got stopped out. Probably would have with a spread unless you really had your stops wide. But I'm really just waiting on that low to get cleared. That or the imbalance. It's one or the other at this point. The wicks are looking crazy, though. I will say that. DXY drawing down further, and it almost tells me that I look at DXY at a glance, just as we've got on here, I would almost want to look for this order block or even these lows. The only reason for that is, well, actually, we have an imbalance right here. I'm blind. I would be paying attention to this. That's what we're drawing towards, it seems like. Next stop, at least. Because if you see, we already came back down into this imbalance right the other day. But whenever we're looking at this impulse move we're in, for whatever reason, it's formed a swing high. That tells me it's trying to retrace. Now, we saw it retrace here, but even then, that wasn't at a discount. So a lot of the times we get those reactions off of a POI that's not in favor of the current trend. For instance, if you have a long POI that's in a premium, you might get a reaction, but I like to call it almost like a fool's gold reaction. And here, let me switch to ES to give you guys a example of that, because you can make money off of them. You just have to understand what it is that you're looking at. Like I was saying, that trade earlier, whenever we're talking about this range, like if you were playing relative to just this range, just an example. If I can get on the right candle. Like I was talking about the scalp I took earlier. Now, why didn't I want to take it much longer than that? Well, because we were in a discount. So it's a lower probability sell. Not to say you can't make money off of it. You know, we come up right here. It's not perfect, but if I can draw it, come up, tap that fair value gap, push to the downside, and then reverse very quickly. Now, the reason for that is, like I said, it's like a fool's gold setup, because you're not at that equilibrium. You're taking a lower probability trade. So many people try to just not even use discount and premium, and I'm just like, that's like the fucking first thing out of the book. It's easy to forget it, I guess, but you know. It's interesting that we didn't hit off that order block. I mean, you could see a reversal here, because anywhere really up above these highs, you know, you're looking at a lot of liquidity resting above that. It's during the lunch hour, so no trades for me, but I could see maybe if it closes like this, it tells me it's drawing a little lower. Now to where, I'm not sure, but let me look at some of these questions. Maybe a short squeeze. Yeah, I mean, that's what this morning definitely was. Shorts got the fucking life squeeze out of them. Gold. Yeah, there was never a play on gold, bro. Remember we talked about we actually talked about that yesterday. But that was and with Euro, it was a pretty clean example of something that, or was it Euro we talked about? That was the 1 hour we had talked about this imbalance. Yeah. So as price came back into it, and you look, we talked about this with Euro, not gold, but whenever we have that much of a reversal and there's no entry given, then what you want to do is you want to watch for a bias to shift, because at that point, the 1 hour is clearly telling you that there weren't, the notion that there were orders within that imbalance is not, it's just not correct. So when we have that massive move down, it kind of just erased that liquidity void on somebody's making. Sorry, I had to mute you, Bandemic baby. Not Bandemic, but the other. There's two Bandemics. But yeah, once we come back down and just gap through that imbalance and create another gap, then you can start to look around in these regions for shorts. So really, this whole little range is a redistribution. Little 3 drive up into this rejection block. Because it didn't take that high before dumping. And also, too, whenever it does something like this, this forms all that liquidity. It's pretty clear that it's drawing towards something to the downside. Yeah, so because I remember, I can't remember if it was you player or somebody else that was talking about gold COT was heavy long, and I was like, yeah, it's not always what we want, but this has to be a different XA gold chart. Which one are we on? Okay, there we go. Yeah, it was you, yeah. Do I host the session already? I'm not sure what you mean. Kind of not even watching NQ recently. It's mainly been focusing on ES. See, NQ hasn't drawn into this daily imbalance, but it did hit this volume imbalance, which I've seen a lot of imbalances or voids get cucked by these little gaps. Like, for instance, right up here. Never made it up to that imbalance. So, we're all in potential reversal zones. I will say that actually it is right at a premium. Never mind. Well, technically it's not, but the price came to a premium. I would almost want a little higher, but we'll see what the lunch hour brings. I like this area right here. Definitely not bullish news. Curious if it's just the market makers doing the short squeeze. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's not bullish news, but if jobless claims get a lot worse and unemployment becomes a huge problem, that will cushion the Fed's blow with interest rates. They have no choice. So in turn, that can end up being better for markets than one would think. But again, don't let the news influence your bias. Like, just watch for, you can, obviously it's going to dump whenever we have that inflation number come out, but don't let that make you just want to only short. Keep your mind open. You got to. Holy shit. That 1 hour looked crazy on ETH. Wicks everywhere. ETH's not looking too bad. I think lower still, but again, with Bitcoin, I want this low to get taken because I miss trading crypto. Yeah, I would like this to dig a little deeper into here at a minimum. But then it's like when you take the week, because you're looking at crypto on the weekly, which I'm not saying this will happen, but just looking at the chart, we never moved into a premium of the weekly move. That would be the crypto thing to do. Just pump and dump everybody to the max. I know we've talked about this level before. Never know. I'm just really being patient until these big levels get swept. ETH, I mean, honestly, the more and more I look at ETH, it's starting to look better like better to stick with Ethereum if things do start to turn up as far as between the two majors for any kind of swings. So when I look at this, which this was SMT divergence, so this was kind of manipulated, but I mean, look at the strength ETH had compared to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin kind of just moseyed up, made a little 3 drive, and then just dumped. Ethereum actually produced a pretty nice upswing. And both of them haven't really, as far as the weekly ranges go, they never returned to a premium of those weekly ranges. Now, even if you draw this one here on Bitcoin, it did, but barely. Somebody said volume imbalance just shown as buy to sell and sell to buy wicks. So the key is the gap between the bodies. So you have that nice big gap right there. That's what I'm mainly watching for. Or like in this example, NQ. The zone that I would watch would be just the gap between the bodies, not necessarily the whole thing right here. But that would be sell to buy wicks if you're looking at it from a supply and demand perspective. EU gave a nice long after taking sell side. Yeah, I think everything did this morning. I think it could reach higher too, to be honest. One last little push into this zone would be nice. It looks like flows the same, similar. Yeah, here with EU, I mean, I could see a draw higher up into this order block and this fair value gap. I'm actually going to set an alarm for this just so I do see it when it happens. So we've already moved into a premium now with ES and NQ. Everything's so all over the place after this news. But I would say moving forward, you know, we could see a little bit of a short squeeze, which we've already really seen. But I think overall downside, I think it's pretty clear. This weekly candle, though, is going to close pretty crazy if we stay anything like this. That would be pretty nice. Why is my shit not working? It won't let me like select comments. Okay, there it goes. Sol. Yeah, I'll take a look at Sol. I feel like this chart tells me lower, man. I mean, it's gonna move with the rest of crypto, but when we trade up like this and then just immediately get shot down, I mean, this is a really shitty looking chart, to be quite honest. Like overall, like not just shitty as far as like downside, but just the price action on it. It's just trading in this order block, but it's really not showing much desire. So I mean, a long time ago, I was really just waiting for this, like on Sol. I mean, I don't really watch alts as much for day trading stuff recently, but I mean, that'd be the honeypot, is to come under 18 bucks. But there's tons of stop losses there, all these lows. And again, it's just really not the prettiest chart. I would say that the draw right now, if I had to say, would be this, because if you notice, price made an effort to push down. I formed this swing high. It came down, took out these lows. Then we came to this imbalance and formed another swing high. So that would tell me that we're moving to the downside, to the next point of liquidity. So we go to daily. Nice reaction off all these lows. Could see some relief. If it wants to select something like that, like let's say if we close a day here and tomorrow we have another decent day, then I would maybe look for a draw back up in here. It's really just the way I look at things are like, let's say you have a price swing like this, right? And the real impulse move, draw it a little bigger, where you see like a real desire that it's going up. You know, I would look at this like, try to find like the beginning of the impulse. So if in this example, I would do something like this and just find the most recent points that price moved really impulsively away from. And you could just basically look for any kind of, like, if it starts to show the desire to go up, meaning it formed a swing low, a candle with another candle to the right, another candle to the left with higher lows, then at that point I would look and, you know, for price to retrace up into a premium. So if I'm looking at a daily chart, that would give me a bullish daily bias. And let's just say we have an imbalance here above this clean high. Well, I would just look at that like, okay, well, price is obviously drawing to the upside. Where is it likely to go? Up into a premium, right? Because if this is a bearish range, I'm going to expect price to move up, you know, and kind of teeter-totter its way up there and engineer liquidity so it can come up here, fill those orders, and then take out all these highs. And then I watch the lower time frames for a sign of reversal. Like for instance, if I'm on a daily chart, I would use a 1 hour to kind of like look for my reversal pattern. And that tells me the price is drawing lower. Now, where is that drawing now? Well, since we're in a bearish range and assuming there's not a bunch of imbalances or order blocks or, you know, equal highs up here, and we've cleaned out most of the internal liquidity, then we're going to look for the low. Now you want to take partials, of course, but like really you search for the low because you're trading pro trend. Remember, price is going to move from external liquidity to internal liquidity at a fair market value back down to external liquidity. That's the way I build my bias. So like if I'm looking at Solana here with that in mind, I'm looking at it like, okay, well, price just made a very big impulsive move down. You know, I'm not going to say yet here because like I said, we haven't formed that swing low. Like we have one candle with a higher low. If we close here, then have another candle with a higher low than down here, which, you know, unless we're just dumping, we will. then I would say, okay, well, price is probably reaching up higher. Why is it reaching up higher? Because it's bearish. Well, it's going to mitigate orders. Where's the first place there's orders? Fair value gap and a premium. That's that simple. And also, we've taken a lot of liquidity here, so you would expect some kind of reaction there. And the reason I was saying that this chart is really not the cleanest is because when I look at the weekly, like, it doesn't make sense to me other than the fact that it's just moving with Bitcoin. Like, there's not really any things on a high time frame, no order blocks, no imbalances, no liquidity voids that it's even touched, which it just kind of is part of the game with crypto. Like, you're on Bitcoin's time, right? Doesn't matter if price has reached where you want it to reach with alts. A lot of times it's especially if it's a key moment where Bitcoin's at, go ahead and kiss your idea goodbye if it doesn't agree with Bitcoin. Yeah, an imbalance is another name for a fair value gap. The way I use that, people use a lot of different terms. That's what I'm referring to as a fair value gap. ENS strong. We actually talked about this on stream. I wonder what it did. What do I have the red on? Can't remember. Honestly surprised that it went right down to this imbalance, under this order block right here. I think that's what we had drawn. Can't remember if I had an alert somewhere, I thought. Yeah, hold on. Or no, because that was a blue. Oh, it's up here. Yeah, overall, we were talking about this. Looks pretty bullish on the weekly. In this with this example, we see price. We have this bearish range. We have an order block, and then we also have an imbalance in a premium. Well, actually, neither of them are in a premium. The more I look at it, but we have this order block and this imbalance here, and you see price came up to them, reacted to them, but not much there. So when I'm just looking at a weekly chart and we come down and we have that market structural shift, we take a high with displacement, leaving a fair value gap, return, and then we're showing more displacement away from it. That tells me this is drawing up higher. Right, the only thing I see it drawing to is this high. So when we're talking about a range, if you notice, there's not a bunch of all the crazy moves were down here. So that could have just been manipulation, right? I don't see on a weekly chart where there's going to be orders remaining. Maybe on a daily, there's something up here, right? And even then, I really don't see a clear area that I would want to short from. So that's whenever I start to think, okay, maybe there's something more coming into play, and we're maybe drawing towards that high. And that's kind of what it looks like. Right, I said yes, but not always. This low could be in. Yeah, for sure. Nothing is always. Nothing at all is always. But I think your logic you said is it was the low that already took the monthly low. Yeah, so a lot of sell side's been taken. I can see what you're saying. But until I have the way that I look at it is until I have price action confirming that, so to speak, then I wouldn't bet on that, if you know what I mean. That's why it's really just important. You get a framework, but then you got to confirm it with your lower time frames. For instance, if you're on a daily, you need to still reference the 1 hour chart, because for instance, we have this fair value gap here. Does that mean just, we've refined a daily chart, I'm going to short it all? No, definitely not. If we don't get price action here that tells me we want to drag or draw lower, then there's no opportunity. And even if it does, you don't just only target that low, because you could be wrong. You're going to target any areas along the way that are good partial points. Yeah, I don't think we'll see anything until after lunch. Like we were saying earlier, whenever we started to get that move to the downside, it did move back up in this fair value gap and give a nice little move down, but usually those moves aren't the best whenever they're during the lunch hour. Somebody asked about QNT, and what's up, Anonymous? Look, QNT, the last time I looked, this shit was strong, like super strong. The higher time frames. Yes. Oh my god. Like, what is going on with this fucking coin? I wanted it to come down here. That did not happen. So we can see. It's like literal god coin in the bull in the bear market. I mean, it's an ugly looking order block, but it's crazy. It's like, I feel like nobody's talking about this either. This is just like a bull run looking ass chart. It's crazy. I know the fundamentals of QNT are pretty strong, but I wonder what is causing this. Because look at that reaction off the imbalance. Like, that just tells you like it's going to move higher. I don't think there are any futures on this coin either. They said ENS check 1 hour time frame. Sure. Well, we finished QNT, kind of ADD for a second. But overall, I mean, you're drawing higher, in my opinion. That reaction of that fair value gap. You know, we had this little impulse move right here. So yeah, you came. What's up?
What's up, buddy?
Not shit. Just chilling. But see how we came into this fair value gap at a discount, and when you have that kind of wick and that kind of reaction, that tells me that the external is being sought after. So to close out QNT, I mean, this high, and then really past that, like 173. Holy shit, that's another like $16 jump. Shit's been moving crazy. It just looks normal because of how volatile
Bitcoin
this chart is.
Railing.
Yeah, definitely made a crazy move. Yeah, it's fucking made a crazier move than Bitcoin today.
I meant to signal my second re-entry, but I was out getting breakfast with my mom.
Oh, true.
I think Nas did it. It took the weekly low that I was talking about.
Oh yeah,
wait,
it took every low.
Weekly. It just kind of lick grabbed the weekly low.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Yeah, everything just straight. Oops.
Yeah, pull up the weekly chart, dude. It looks, the fucking wick is insane right now. Wow, dude, I wish I was home to trade this. I only took a Bitcoin long.
Shit was crazy.
I know, dude. A 10 lot on Nas would be making me more than Bitcoin right now.
They upped y'all's lots, I think, right?
What'd you say?
Didn't they change the lot sizes?
Oh yeah, it'd be a 100 lot now. Oh my god, this thing moved 576 points that quickly? Bro, that would have been 57K. If you had just taken it to the high that right before CPI, like that alone is what's it called? It's like a 450 point move. That would have been 45 Gs in like less than an hour. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that would have been wild. But you can't look at it like that because you didn't know.
I know.
You know.
Well, I actually my TA on NAS is I have it coming all the way up to 14,000 now to take out the August high, the August weekly high.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. We talked about that possibility a little bit. There's a monthly order block. I think if it's, yeah, it's right. That's right at 14K. But I mean, I personally don't see any inclination of that yet. I think it's speculatory. It's possible, but personally, I just don't see the.
Here, look in stock chat. I'm gonna what's it called? I'm gonna send my TA to you.
Got you.
So I can tell you my analysis on and why I think we might do that. I just added you.
That would be the ultimate short squeeze right there. I don't think it's far off, but I would have to see more to think that was going to happen.
Yeah, keep scrolling down and look at the little Twitter thing that I posted because someone else in Playbit posted that, and that's exactly why I think we might short squeeze before a massive dump.
Wait, where is it? Oh, this
the October, yeah, the one I posted on October 10th.
Wait, this shit? It's like a Twitter thing?
No. Below that. If you go to where I added you and then just read the conversation I had with Guh.
Oh, hold on. I clicked the one that it was replying to. Where is it? Oh, this right here.
No, it's like the actual Twitter post.
Oh.
And you'll see.
Oh, I see it now. I see it now. Oh, I've seen this shit, yeah. Yeah, how many shorts would get liquidated?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would provide like the best liquidity for smart money to fucking enter.
Yeah, but at the same time though, with this much volume, I would almost anticipate some of that is smart money. You know, you don't know if those are closed or not, but just when it's that much volume, you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus.
No, you're completely right.
I think the elections could bring some crazy shit. So like I said, it's not far off. I'm not like, I could see some crazy shit just because that monthly order block that never got tapped, where it did get tapped on ES and then YM. So that's weird that happened. And you could see some kind of wild shit, but again, it's possibilities.
Just all speculation.
Like for instance, if we had like a really like where I would look, God damn, look how much better YM looks than anything else. No, big strong. But see the Dow's price action this morning. That shit was clean as fuck. I won't even lie. Boom. Could have traded the order block or the fair value gap. Up to the fucking moon. Somebody said XRP. Oh, Vance asked, he said, is that JL talking? He's in my YouTube stream. HBAR. Oops.
XRP mooning too?
Sure, everything is.
Oh, no, it's not. Well,
it might be
kind of mooning.
HBAR's, this daily chart don't look bad.
Nice little 9% so far.
I mean, dude, the weekly chart on HBAR looks like this shit wants to, if it can show desire, it hasn't really shown a shift with displacement, but like, let's say we get one super fat bullish week where we get like, we take a high and leave a fair value gap, I would literally look for this shit to start buying, but it's not there yet. So
let's have Playboy dump a few bags into it.
The HBAR? Yeah, I think he went 25%. I mean, I see it looks good. Like it genuinely does look good. Like we came out under all these lows. The weekly impulse move has nearly been mitigated. I mean, not even like been touched. And then we're kind of just consolidating down here. But I would want displacement breaks of structure before I would consider like being very confident that it's gonna start to move all the way up here.
It could do. It could pull an XRP on the weekly.
Right. Like Phil, which we got stopped out on. I'll show you guys a lot. Oops. I think I deleted the actual trade thing after I signaled that it got we lost, but our trade was stop loss was over here at this low. We only put half the position into it, so it was a minus half of whatever your risk is, if it was 0.5% or half of that. But overall here, I mean, I liked this shift that we had. So we had this nice, we came up and took these little highs. Now, I mean, I get it, they're not really major highs, but still, I mean, the system is that the way that I try to use it is if we take a high and leave a fair value gap, you know, look for if price starts consolidating there, it's likely to draw up higher into a premium. Again, I mean, this kind of just got fucked with this fair value gap. Seems like it was the deterrent of that narrative, but I still look at this in a bullish sense. Like we haven't mitigated any of this, and now if we take this external liquidity like we just did, and then on top of that, if we start to reverse again on the weekly, I will look to build into it. But it's not. As with most stuff, it's starting to look really good as far as alts go, like the potential framework, but there's no confirmation. Just like we were saying earlier, you have to have confirmation that your narrative is right. So you build your framework and then use highs and lows to kind of confirm it. Bitcoin on the daily. So that wick likely gets filled. Are you talking about this? I mean, really with Bitcoin, I'm like I said, I'm just waiting for one of two things, and that's going to be price to return to this fair value gap up here, or price to return to this low. And then I'll reassess it, but I just don't really see a reason to trade it over indices right now. Because everything gave, I mean, this obviously this morning gave a crazy opportunity for sure, but so did everything else. And if you ask me, you tell me which one do you think is cleaner. But check out SAND. This is another really good looking long-term chart. If it can start to show. To me, I would really look at like this whole range right here now, because we came down and we took out this on that wick. So we'll probably see some consolidation. But you see I have all these little highs, this little consolidation right above or right under that equilibrium and a clean high there. I could see that as potential for price to want to start pushing it. But it's got a while before that. VIX, like the volatility index, yeah. I don't pay attention to it too much. The only barometer I like using it along with a chart is like inverse is DXY. I try to keep it a little simple. My view on partially filled fair value gaps, mitigated and move to the next one, are still valid for rest to be filled. I was reading something. I keep an eye on them, but if they've already been mitigated past equilibrium, like for instance, if you take a fib like this, and I were to do this right here and draw a fib, if price had dug up into it like all the way up here, and then left a sliver, I wouldn't pay attention to it as much as if it just barely tapped into it and then moved away. Can we say Mana Daily Lick has been taken? Yeah, I actually had this drawn for whatever reason. This looks really good. This weekly low down here too. I'm actually just going to put this on here along with a couple other charts just because I want to keep an eye on them. What was the other? Oh yeah, AXS. But now that we've came down, we've taken a lot of liquidity, we can start to frame the idea that we might want to retrace. Phil took it. AXS definitely took it. I'm just going to redo all this. See, this is a good example. I would still pay attention to this gap. That right there, I would still watch that. Oh yeah, people trade VIX alone. A lot of people use it as a barometer as well. I'm gonna make a barrier. I don't like them having them here, but if I don't, so I'll never look at them if I don't have them on this chart. Yeah, if we don't reverse here, which I think there's a good chance we start moving back up in the range, that would be ideal. Because if we look at the weekly, you don't really draw this whole range. We already took we came down, kind of formed a low, and then took that low. Somebody's actually referring to that earlier in here. But I could see that, you know, this maybe being a sign that we want to move up into the range. Now, what will confirm that for me is just a market structure shift. So it might take some time. You know, who knows? We could come up. Let's just say price comes up, kind of retraces, and then blasts above. These lines are ugly. Why is it drawing like that? Like zoomed out or zoomed in, it does that. Let's just say we come up here, kind of move down, and then shift like that. That's going to show me that on, you know, based off this weekly range where we haven't moved into a premium. Then in the lower time frame, which is the daily, in that example is shifting market structure, that'll tell me that it's showing the desire to move up. So that's what I say whenever that's what I mean whenever I say it's not confirmed. Because I think speculation is a huge killer in trading. Like, obviously what we do is speculatory. I'm not saying it's not, but you want to make it as mechanical as possible. So my strategy is until I see a market structure shift on the lower time frame, then I don't look for that narrative to be fulfilled. So if I'm using a weekly, I'll look for a daily market structure shift. If I'm using a daily, I'll look at a 1 hour market structure shift. If I'm using a 1 hour, I'll look at a 5 minute. If I'm using a 15 minute, use a 1 minute, and so forth. Well, on that note, there's no more questions. Probably going to hop off here. For everybody that's in the Discord, we're going to have the private class later today. Apologies that I couldn't do it yesterday. I had something come up last minute that I really couldn't put off. So we are going to get it done today. If you're not in the Discord, there's a link in the description. You can sign up, use my code. It's Casper, all caps, and you get a free trial. So you could be in the class today if you want. But yeah, I would wait for maybe a little consolidation in the afternoon here. Some kind of liquidity be taken on a 5 minute, whether that's down or up. If like, let's say we get something like this, kind of a boring little move, and then a flush down, maybe into this imbalance here, or just really anywhere below the lows, and then you start to see that market structure shift in the low time frames, you could go look to go long and target maybe this high or this imbalance. Now, if we rate up into the imbalance, then we might see a little move to the downside. It's ironically enough, our class today is on trading indices in the afternoon, and kind of my strategy applied to it's the same model that we use in the mornings, but there's a little bit more to it as far as bias and how far you want to take it, and how you kind of infer what the day is telling you if the daily move is going to be reversal or continuation. I'll fill 15 minutes. He said, don't go yet. Got you. So 15-minute looks good. I'm looking here. This is pretty clean. Yeah, I actually like this a lot. Risk reward wouldn't be the greatest. Might be good enough. Let's see. I'm not setting a limit. I'm just drawing this, so don't. Yeah, it's not enough for what I want to do. But I could see maybe a drawback down into this gap here. Maybe even lower, maybe down here. But somewhere, if you get a nice reversal, I would look for all these highs to get taken. Because now that one side of liquidity has been taken, now we see the 15-minute. It's getting that market structure shift, just like I was saying. I'm looking at that daily liquidity, right? Haven't got a clean area to look at on the 1 hour. In my opinion, it's a massive gap, but you still got that shift like that on the 1 hour. As long as this 1 hour candle doesn't just massively dump, then now you have kind of a framework to operate off of. Now you could further your refinement by looking for your low time frame entry within this zone. However you do that, maybe it's market maker buy, maybe it's just a choach, whatever, but you can apply your entry. If you get a confirmation here, which for me would be same thing we're seeing, nice displacement, shift in market structure, tell me price is reaching higher, and build a narrative around all those equal highs getting taken. And that's based off that daily fair value gap. And that's just the low hanging fruit. I'm not saying it won't go farther. I mean, who knows? It might not even go there. But whenever you're day trading or intraday, in my experience, my longer term profitability is more consistent whenever I just smack the low hanging fruit, right? It also makes for a lot easier trading psychology because you know you're just in and out. That's why I really like, I've been doing this fixed 2R. I haven't really traded much this week, but I like the idea of it because it's, you basically check it. Does the trade have your 2R worth of a move? Like, is your target past 2R at it? Oh, okay, you can take it. Even if it's way farther than it, you just take it at 2R. And I will say there was a couple trades here, I'll show them to you, that I kind of got left behind on. Can't remember if I hid them or not because they're trying too much. I think it was right. Yeah, it was right here. It's a couple times where I got in the sell, little 2R. I mean, it went way farther, right? It kind of like, damn, I could have taken the low, but a lot of times when I don't, just take profits pretty quickly. You'll end up trimming maybe along the way. You might trim 3 or 4 times, and then it's better you just taking it 2R by the time all the trims are accounted for, or it doesn't go to a TP, comes back, stops your break even. I think that if you can be very consistent with a high win rate with 2R, I think it could be a very profitable tool, and it makes your time. You don't have to spend a ton of time on the charts. But yeah, on that note, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. I really appreciate you all coming through. We had a lot of people in here today. If you could just like the video, comment, it really helps me out a lot. And also, I'm actually about to put out a video here in like literally 5 minutes after I get the video off of the stream. It'll be on the power of 3. It's a little short video, and then I'll be releasing the full video later. So watch that. Hopefully it helps. I've been trying to make some more direct content where it's more of a how-to than an hour-long stream that you kind of got to fish back through. But anyways, I will see you all tomorrow. Anybody that's in the Discord, I'll see you tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. Peace.